cash to accrue accounting project. In the circumstances, lack of leadership and coordination may delay the transition process and result in an achievement of key milestones and deliverables outlined in the transition roadmap.
So those are not the words of the Senate. Those are the words of the Auditor General. That lack of leadership and coordination, that's the Auditor General. So it's not from our mouths, it's from this report. And that, if that is not the reason why you got an adverse opinion, then we'll try to find out whether there are other reasons. But we feel that that was the beginning of the problems. Now, can we understand whether this committee was ever established, whether a project manager was ever appointed, and also Auditor General, in the organization, who had this responsibility? Was it the governor? Was it the chief officer? Was it the CEC Finance? Responsibility to establish the transition committee and to appoint a project manager.
Yes, Chair.
Governor? Resulting into an adverse opinion.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Your assessment is very fair.
Resulting into an adverse opinion.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Your assessment is very fair. Yes, indeed. At the point of the audit, we had appointed the committee, but they are not taken fully off. And probably it led from the movement from cash to accrual to have these problems we have today of financial statements. Because largely when you look into most of the audit queries we have here are on financial statements. However, right now we have the committee in space, which has been appointed by the respective CC for finance.
Could we have the CC go on record? Because that's a responsibility that is specific to him.
Yes, Chair. I did the appointment and the committee is in place.
On what dates?
Yeah, this is a transition. You know, when we are moving to accrual,
go on record.
Your mic is off.
My mic is on. I don't know why. Yes, it's on. Chair, I'm saying I did appoint the committee to look into the transitioning.
Is there some evidence to that effect that was shared with the Auditor General?
There is a next one, yes, in the response.
When was the appointment done?
We did it in July.
In July, after the closure of the financial
year. Yeah.
Auditor, was it supposed to have been done after the closure? Because I thought they would oversee the preparation of financial statements.
Thank you, Chair. The appointment was to be appointed as early as April, May of the financial year.
You have seen evidence that they have set up the committee?
Yeah, the appointment letters have been attached in the responses which were done in the month of July 2025 after the closure of the financial year.
Who was designated as a project manager? CC?
The CEO of Finance, George Kerr, formally.
So the long and short of it is that the responsibility for the mess, the responsibility for the adverse opinion, lies squarely in the hands of the CC Finance and the Chief Officer Finance, isn't it? If you failed to do what was required in the circular.
I did it, Chair.
No, you did it outside the timelines.
I'm sorry for doing it outside the timelines.
Well, it's already an adverse opinion.
We knew.
So you can't apologize for an audit report that has already been adopted.
You see, in this transitioning to accrual, we have been given 3 years to transition. So it's not, this was the first year.
No, so there are 46 other counties that did the right thing.
But
Kericho did not.
Chair, not even that. Even within that 3 years, I thought, Honorable Rob.
Yes.
I thought even within those 3 years, there are timelines for certain things to be done.
Very well.
Yeah, so the appointment of the transition committee should not have waited until the 31st day of July. Should have been done earlier.
I accept that.
Chair, maybe let's start from the basic. Waziri Rob, I thought, did you attend the training on this issue of transition from cash to accrual accounting?
The
Brought by
accountants
the Ministry of, is it National Treasury and also Public Accountants Standards? And were you able to attend? And I thought the appointment should have been the first instance. And you should be answering this knowing that you are a former Vice Chair of County Public Accounts in the National Assembly. So you have a responsibility.
I didn't attend, but the chief officer attended and the accountants.
So the chief officer failed to inform you to do what you should do.
I should not say he failed, but I'm sorry for what happened.
Well, Chair, you know, Chair, apology has never been, we only apologize in charge, not in accounting.
No.
Yeah,
No, because a mistake has happened.
Yes, you own up.
You own up, but you didn't do your job. If everybody was to apologize, then we don't
you
need
see,
to hear.
in the PFM space, you don't end at an apology. There has to be administrative action, and it has to be demonstrated. Someone should be rebuked. Someone should be retrained. Someone should be warned for not doing the right thing. So we don't consume apologies. There has to be some evidence that administrative action was taken. Now, honourable members, we started this just to demonstrate where the problem lies.
Chair,
in Kericho
Chair, kindly
County.
before you conclude on that, you know, some of us are also learning a lot of things from these appearances. And I remember the Treasury took your committee chair for training on this matter, and we spent 2-3 days. Kanata was very hard on us, trying to make us understand how this system works. Chair, is it discretionary that the officer, the top officers in county governments can opt out of this kind of training? Is it a choice that they make, or they are supposed to go through this? Because when Waziri says he did not attend, but the chief officer attended, then what does that mean? That you want to provide leadership from the top, but without full information? How is that? How is that tailored, Chair? Is that an option that they have, or is it mandatory?
That entirely depends on the invitation for the training. If they say specific officers, especially the accountants, to attend, because this is purely matters accounting, and then the accountants will do.
Now, we then will be recommending a lot of administrative action on the officers who are supposed to have done things and they failed to do so, and Kericho ended up with an adverse opinion. Having established part of the problem, let's go back now to the report. Let's go back to the beginning of the report, and you will see how what we have just discussed relates to most of the paragraphs in the report. Auditor General, your first basis for adverse opinion was?
Unsupported opening balances.
And in that observation, you have also cited the lack of a Transition Project Coordination Committee report.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, Governor, if you are the Project Transition Committee, then even this matter perhaps would not have a reason. However, it brings up very huge variances in figures. The Auditor General has cited a variance of 15.2 billion. 15.2 billion variance. How can you have a variance of 15.2 billion in a financial statement prepared by a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya? Because a variance means that something cannot be explained. Between the debit and credit, there's a difference of 15 billion Kenya shillings. How is that possible in Kericho with a 7 billion budget? Which qualified accountant can prepare financial statements with a variance of 15 billion, money that Kericho cannot see in a year? Governor, does it bother you?
Yeah, it does, Chair, because honestly, when you talk about 15 billion, that's a whole budget of like 3 years of Kericho County, not just 1 year. Because we receive like 7 billion, 7, that's almost like 3. And so, what the accountants did inform me was that After the draft, they worked on the financial statements, but then it was already too late because the audit had closed at that time.
No, let's call a spade a spade. And we have been hard on governors because they are CEOs. But we must also pronounce ourselves on the officers who hide behind the governor to do things that are not useful to the county. The financial statement with a variance of 15.2 billion has been signed by two CPAs, CPA Dr. George Kirer and CPA Fernandez Korir. And their ISPAC numbers are presented there. They are not prepared by a T-plucker. They are prepared by professionals. And you have a 15 billion variance. You go through the process, including exit meeting, and that variance is not addressed.
Since I've explained what they did told me. One of them, CPA George Kirer, is no longer working for the county government of Kericho. But Fernandez, Director of Finance, can explain because he's here with us.
Fernandez is one of the signatories?
Yes.
Okay, where is Fernandez? Because we are about to make recommendations to ISPAC with regards to his professional competence. So let us not judge him unheard.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. This variance of 15 billion arose, and we've captured this in the committee, the Transition Committee report, that it relates to, over time, the county government has been doing acquisition of assets since inception. This was a transition period where we are transitioning from cash. Initially, this amount was never disclosed, and this informed why the government of Kenya transitioned from cash basis so that assets and liabilities are visible. The 15 billion relates to acquisitions which were done by the county government over the years since the inception of devolution. However, since we were required to transition over a 3-year period, year one, phase one, it wasn't mandatory for us to disclose the PPE. However, that is property, plant and equipment. However, we were required to identify by way of assets so that it informs how
I think you are describing the trees. We want a description of the forest. The Auditor General says the 15.2 billion was an unexplained variance. Unexplained. I mean, you are not supposed to explain it to the senators. You are supposed to explain it to the satisfaction of the auditors who are your professional colleagues. This is not that opportunity. In fact, this is, right now, you should just be telling us why we should not refer you to ISPAC for disciplinary action and why we should not declare you unfit to hold that office. That explanation you are giving ought to have been given to the Auditor General so that it does not form part of this report. Auditor General, did the gentleman explain, say those things that he's saying?
No, Chair.
And whatever he's saying, does it satisfy you as a professional?
Okay, thank you, Chair. One of the reasons we have this variance again is because they failed to have that committee, which should have advised them that they were not so supposed to report on PPEs. The transition, if they took the phase transition, they should have not reported on the property, plant, and equipment. But now that they reported it, the variances arose.
So, because when you say unexplained variance of 15.2 billion, the layman would think that that unexplained variance is theft.
These are just the
numbers.
As you've correctly said, is the accountant, the preparer of the financial
the
statements.
preparer of the financial statements. So we will make appropriate recommendations on the competence and suitability to hold public office on the part of those preparers of financial statements. Senator Wambua.
I'm happy I heard the governor saying that he has benefited from committees of the Senate. And there's an opportunity here, Governor, to also benefit again. You know, to the person in Kericho, when they see a variance of 15 billion, as the chair has alluded, it's money that has been stolen. That's what they think. And they are right to think that way. You see, the person, Governor, and initially I saw you are very annoyed, now you are not. You know, the person that you should be really be very annoyed with is a person who occasions such a thing. Because once it's out there, you may not have the opportunity to talk to every person in Kericho and explain to them, you know, this money is just about accounting, it's not money being lost. Once the word is out there, to control it becomes a problem. So you should be very annoyed with the people who occasion certain things. Secondly, Chair, I'm wondering, you know, now we are dealing with more or less implementation status of our recommendations. So instead of your man in charge of accounts telling us a lot of stories, he should be telling us what steps have been taken from the time we made our recommendations to date. What has he done to make sure that this has been addressed? I think that's my submission, Chair.
I think the last part of your submission is extremely valid. We had started by looking at things broadly, but we now need to go back to the specific responses that they put on record, on the action that they are taking. So maybe we might need to, you might need, Governor, to refer us to the part where you have responded to issue number 1 on unsupported opening balances, because that is the procedural thing to do, to process your written responses. I was just trying to illustrate to you where your problems lie and maybe the reasons why you may have gotten an adverse opinion. And I hope you have started seeing it clearly. So where is your response to issue number 1?
Chairman, I can read through the response.
Honorable members, do you have it? Unsupported
Opening balances in volume number 1.
opening balances.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, honorable members, do we take note of the response? Because I can see it's a full page. And then if there's any query, we can question. Because if he reads his response to all the matters, we will not be able to cover much ground by 2:30.
I will get it, Chair.
Yeah. So Governor, having glanced through your response, your actions are not smart on this matter. They are not very specific. They are not measurable. But most importantly, they're not time-bound. If you go to your last paragraph, where you are requesting the committee to do something, can you just read it?
We therefore request the Honorable Committee to note that the variance arose from assets and liabilities that were still under verification and validation during the audit period, and not from any loss, omission, or reason of county assets. The exercise is ongoing and will be concluded to facilitate complete and accurate reporting in subsequent financial statements.
So the time, what is the timing for your action? Auditor General, this is corrected in the next financial statements, or it can be corrected midway.
Thank you. And inaccuracies in the Auditor General's report can only be corrected as a prior year adjustment in the subsequent financial year.
So we can take that as an action that needs to be taken.
Yes, Chair.
However, we will also make recommendations on administrative action on the officers who held professional responsibility on this matter. And perhaps we'll also give you timelines for that administrative action, maybe 30, 60 days, and then you'll come back to confirm that that action was taken.
Okay.
Honorable members, any other question on the response here? We can proceed to the next matter.
Oh, Chair, can the governor just confirm that the committee is already in place?
Yeah, Honorable
And that
Chair.
things are happening.
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, I can confirm, which Honorable Senator, that the committee is in place, and we are beginning next week. There's an entry for the audit, and all these things will be corrected.
Okay, so we can then proceed to inaccuracy of use of goods and services. Auditor General, describe your finding, which the House adopted.
Thank you, Chair. The inaccuracy of use of goods and services. The statement of financial performance and as disclosed in note 10, the financial statements reflects use of goods and services amounting to 2,171,715,000. However, the amount includes various expenditure items totaling 174,583,661, which differs with the supporting general ledgers that amounts totaling 172,521,661, resulting in an experienced variance of 2,062,000 as shown below. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, what was the response?
Acknowledges the audit observation and clarifies that the variance of Kenya shillings 2,062,000 arose from misclassifications. The anomaly was rectified through the appropriate general entries. The relevant ledgers updated and journals are provided in Annex 2.
Auditor General, have you scrutinized Annex 2 and does it respond to the variances?
Chair, as Adi said, these corrections cannot be made here. It can only be done in the subsequent year.
Okay. Please.
Yes.
Will only reflect when you close the year.
Thank you, Chair.
So we keep that in view and
Yes,
direct recommendations on administrative action, because again, this seems to be things that there seems to be a very laid-back attitude in terms of financial reporting in the county. Million. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Inaccuracy of employee costs. The statement of financial performance reflects employee costs amounting to 3,308,084,170, which does not agree with Note 9 of the financial statements that reflect an amount of 3,307,953,221, resulting in an explained variance of 130,949. Further, the amount reported in the statement of financial performance differs with payroll and supporting schedules for employee costs totaling 3,335,801,370, resulting in an explained variance of 52,282,800. Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
Yeah, Honorable Chairman, management acknowledges the auditor's observation in relation to the variance. The statement, I'm just trying to pick out this one. This is, oh yeah, management acknowledges the auditor's observation in relation to the variance of Kenya shillings 130,949. This was a posting error in the notes to the financial statements. However, the entry in note 9 will be corrected in the subsequent financial statements. Further, the management acknowledges the auditor's observation on variance of Kenya shillings 52,282,800. This was paid outside payroll, and it relates to payment of stipends to 1,642 community health promoter CIP for the year under review. Attached is the list of CIPs and payment forgeries for verification as Annex 3.
Auditor General.
Thank you, Chair. The inaccuracies has also not been addressed, and maybe in future, maybe the county should ensure that all these allowances are paid through the payroll. Thank you.
Governor, this explanation you're giving contradicts issue number 17 in this report, because you have a finding on unsupported
Yeah.
stipend to community health practitioners. And the amounts are completely different, 87 million, 33 million, 54 million. Maybe we need to pause a bit and find out how you are paying your CHPs and tie that response to the other. Auditor, can you read your other finding on CHPs?
Question number?
It was 17 in the original certificate.
Thank you, Chair. Unsupported management health team and community health partners stipend account expenditure. The statement of financial performance reflects total expenses amounting to 6,163,967,157. The amount includes 54,281,000 account totaling 87,821,275, which was not supported with expenditure returns and list of beneficiaries. Thank you, Chair.
Now, because we want to tie these two, what was your response on that, Governor?
Yeah, Honorable Chairman, the management has noted the audit observation. The management needs to clarify that the total amount to Kericho County Health Management Team, HSSF and CIB stipend account is Kenya shillings 54,281,275, comprising of Kenya shillings 52,282,800 for CHB stipend and Kenya shillings 1,988,475 for user fee for new dispensaries and not 87,821,275 as observed by the auditor. Attached in Annex 17 is the expenditure returns, bank statements, and the list of beneficiaries. Finally, the amount of Kenya shillings 87,821,275 as observed by the auditor is the sum total of Kenya shillings at the 3,055,40,000 and 54,281,275.
So now we are seeing the 52.2 million appearing in both queries.
Yes, yes.
Auditor General, so we have not even gone to the list of beneficiaries, because that was a key issue in your paragraph 17. But let's just tie the numbers. How much was supposed to have been paid to CHPs? Was it the 52 plus? Was it 52 million, 52.2 million, or should it have been 87 million?
Chair, from the records we reviewed, the CHPs were paid 33. This was reviewed in IFMIS, but it could not be traced in the financial statements. Thank you, Chair.
Us, through Annex 3. But when you look at Annex 3, I'm not very sure how many people in this room can read what is in Annex 3. Because there's a list now of the beneficiaries. Unless Jerryot can read that, I don't know. It's, that's a young man. He could be, maybe he's able
But
to read
20 pages of extremely small print.
small little, but you can't even see efficient. Or being efficient.
But Chair, even as we review and look at the responses, Governor, we had to really answer to these audit queries during the time of audit. Why didn't we do that? Because this matter would not have been escalated to this level.
Yep.
The officers were there. They would have given the list of beneficiaries. We would really have seen what was supposed to be paid to who during the time of audit. What happened?
Honorable Chair, maybe I'll ask the Director of Finance to respond, but before even asking to respond, Chair, I must also say that in another space, Kericho County is one of the few counties that are paying their stipends on time for CHPs. They're not staying for 6 months, but every month they are receiving their 2,500, which I think is the flip side, which is good. But now let me ask the Director of Finance to respond.
And that's why you should avoid an audit query on the subject.
Yeah,
Because
I
it makes
agree.
people start thinking that you are treating them badly.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Let me ask the Director of Finance to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. It is true, Kericho County, we paid 52 million relating to stipend for CHP workers. In Annex 3, we've attached the supporting payment vouchers, for one for 33 million and one for 18,742,000, totaling the 52 million, which you've disclosed there, and which were not processed in the integrated payroll management system. The CHPs were paid outside the integrated payroll management system.
That is not the question. The question is they were paid outside IFMIS and the lists were there. Why were they not given for verification during the time of audit, contrary to section 62 of Public Audit Act?
Yeah, remember we are not doing the audit today. The audit was done. There was an opportunity before 30th of March to respond. That opportunity was not utilized. So right now, we are taking it that what the Auditor General has said is true.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This query arose at the draft management, draft report level. It was not in the management letter, and that is a period when the auditors were still on the ground. And when it appeared at the draft stage, we responded and attached this supporting documentation. However, these responses were late and they were not considered, and that is why even it's affected the report and it gave us that.
Everything you have said collapses on the last statement that they were late. You said that these responses were late and were not considered, isn't it? Because the Auditor General also has constitutional timelines. Auditor General, am I saying something that is useful, or because you are saying all those things, then you are saying that they were late?
I think the courts gave direction on when the Auditor General should report on the financial statements, which is 31st of December of every year. So
was introduced in 2023 through the launch by His Excellency the President. And the county signed agreement between there was an agreement between the counties and the national government, where the county government was supposed to open a special purpose account, specifically for CHPs. So when the money is processed from IFMIS, we process the CHP stipends into a special purpose account. from the special purpose account, we did not see the need to open another account for paying the salaries. So we used an existing account called the CHMT account. In that CHMT account, as CPA Fernandez have said, we processed 52 million into that account. The balance of 1.9 million is nothing related to the CIPs, but these are monies that we transfer to new dispensaries who do not have the accounts. Remember, in Kericho County, we have opened around 16 new dispensaries. So we use the same account to pay the dispensaries, that is salaries that are used for watchman and maybe a cleaner. So the actual amount for CIPs is 52 million. As indicated in the financial statement. The other 1.9 is, we only use the same account to process the support we give to the level 2 facilities, the new facilities.
He's asking for justification for late submission of the documents for.
That to be the problem.
Yes.
The story, you can understand it, but that ought to have been done at an earlier stage, so that you don't have two related audit ways. Point.
If you just give me that account, Chair.
You can do that, and then you can also tell us which can help us, because you're the people on the ground. Is it viable to pay CHPs through the system where everyone else is paid? Is it practical?
Maybe, Chair, before CEO responds to Chair Arigay, through you, Chair, my honest observation, number one, is that the conditional grants that come to the county governments, you know, there is a process. There's a county public service board that employ all the staff of county governments, which is an independent board. In this matter, the CHPs are not employed through the county public service board. To that extent, it is not only Kericho, but it poses then in the default structures how then are these CIPs supposed to be handled. In my honest view, then going forward is a situation where we'll have CIPs across the country processed through the public service board, and we have national government Instead of, the national government sent 2,500, the county government sent 2,500. So sometimes they have no personal numbers.
Chair, just on a point of order, we don't have a problem in the entire process. My only concern is he has put it very well, Governor, that it's a conditional allocation. And your CEO had said there's a special purpose account. We just want to see where the money is. On the other aspects, he can raise it at the tail end when he's making observations on engagement between the national and county government.
I think we were giving the officer time to find that account, but I'd ask that supplementary question because if it's here as an audit query, then for us to agree with the Auditor General, it would mean that we direct that CHPs be paid through IPPD. And that's the question I was asking. Is it practical if half their money is national, half the money is county? So I think that's what you're explaining. So in your view, it is not...
Unless they are processed through the body that employs, which is the County Public Service Board.
Yes.
That is where they can have contract letters, employment letters, stating their terms of services, and then they can be given the IDPD numbers.
Meaning we'll always have this query coming up.
Yes.
And you see, Chair, I like the thinking that this is not specific to Kericho. It's part of the matter that as Senate, we may want to apply ourselves to leader. This thing about government releasing a portion of pay to a stipend to employees in counties who have no payroll numbers, and then the county also giving a portion of their money to employees, would it be easier to the entire amount to counties as an additional allocation to counties?
Correct.
Yeah? Then the counties take the responsibility of paying the employees. Now they can put them through the public service board or whatever they want to do with that. That would be smart. That would be neater.
I think that's neater because under the Constitution there is conditional additional allocation. I think as a Senate, I think this is an issue that the governor has raised that we need to consider. We use it additional allocation so that it is easy to manage these CHP employees, so that we don't have a case where national government has released the half of the amount, maybe because of delay of exchequer to the counties, they are yet to release. So I think this is something we can take it home.
The legal counsel is advising that they are not employees of counties. So whose employee are they?
That is why I thought, because we are in the Senate of the Republic of Kenya, some of the matters that comes out also shapes future conversations.
So
as it is now,
employees of national government.
As it is, who owns the CHBs? Who owns them? Who accounts to? Who supervises them? Because they're not employees of the county, neither are they employees of the national government. In structures of government, there's a supervisor that somebody has to report to. But in this context, then, who do CHBs respond to? Who do they, when they wake up in the morning, who keeps an account of them? It's simple.
I think, Chair, this is quite clear because then they are in level 1, isn't it? So there are nurses who are superintending against them. And I don't think there's a problem because they are already working. They were already working before they were paid stipends. Now they are being paid. I think what you need to do is if you have a special purpose account, then you need to know how that money is dispensed. We have Jamii money that is being dispensed by the national government. How do they do it? Every time they're improving on it. I think what we need to do, we need to have that account available to the auditors. And then, is it that we have a payment voucher to the Chief of Health, who then pays in cash or delivers it through M-Pesa? We need to know how that money leaves the CRF account and then to the special purpose account, and then how it is dispersed, then to the individual CHPs. If it is flawless, then it can be audited and the money can be accounted for. To me, that is the most important thing.
And as we debate this, let's be very clear that we are not belittling the role of CHPs.
Correct.
Yeah, let that not be the
Correct.
conclusion.
Correct.
They are very, very useful. We just need to manage them better. Senator Cherargei.
Chair, for some of us who have aspirations to be governors in near future, I agree, because this is a danger of clawback clauses of the devolution. And I think these are conversation as Council of Governors. These are issues we should sit as a Senate and COG, because is it a secondment? I agree with the governor when he says, who do they account for if there are disciplinary action? Who should take up? Is it PS or Luka? Is it CSR and Duale, or is it governors? So, Chair, to give this live conversation, I think we cannot leave it there, but we need to call upon maybe the CS of Health and PS of Health to appear before this committee and shed light, because we know the critical role that CHPs have, because they go houses to houses, they assist in health provision. We are talking about Article 43 on the right to health, which is very critical, and we support CHPs, but we must have a clear line. And my proposal is simple, before I yield back to the incoming governor of Kitui, is very simple. Can we include to the additional allocation in our DORA? Then when we pass the money, we give it to the counties. Then the counties run through County Public Service Board, and they are able to supervise and ensure that also we have what we call performance of those CHP, so that when they say they visit 10 houses, they have taken pressure of particular people, they have dispensed drugs to individuals. There is that accountability mechanism. So I agree with the governor that he should talk to the COG, that apart from engaging themselves in some unnecessary dramas, this is the conversation we should be having. I yield back.
I think majority leaders whispered to me that this comes back to us. Majority leader, you want to go on record on that?
No, I was just reminding you that in this year's BPS, this matter, our Committee on Budget and Finance actually looked into it. The only trouble I have is that I have not seen the report on DORA, the one that's before the House, because we had agreed that we process it this way. I remember raising it on the floor. But nonetheless, because we have mediation on DORA about to begin this afternoon, I believe that's the way we should proceed.
Yeah, Chair, you know that matter, why it is very important. You know, the COG will tell you that they cannot Secondly, it brings the challenge of the government minimum wage for employees. You know, they want to pay them 2,500, but the minimum wage is what, around 13, 14,000? So it also comes with a burden on both levels of government. I think it is for us as a Senate, and I'm happy that then the majority leader says it's a conversation we can have in the mediation for DORA, that then we do what we must do. We all agree that the CHPs play a very critical role in the primary health care in every county. So let us then compensate them properly.
Correct.
Even if it means for them to be included in the list of employees under the public service boards, then let a budget be found for them to perform that function.
Now, Senator Wambo is already speaking like a governor. He's answering the Senate on some issues.
But I want to go on record, Chair, and this is important.
Also,
I will be against. I will be against combining the stipend from the national government and with the one from the county government. Most counties have a lot of backlog, 10 months, 15 months, even some 20 months, in terms of payment of this stipend. So let the national government pay their part, the county government pay their part. There's a lot of lethargy in the county government in terms of payment. So let's just have them, national government pay, county government pay. We should not combine.
So this is a policy conversation, and I think when we get your perspective as governors, it helps us to be more critical when we are processing laws. So this is a conversation that will be ongoing. There's an officer who was tasked just to identify the account, that's PAR, in your financial statements. I think that's fairly straightforward. Just do that so that we can move on.
Chariot, please look your mind, and you'll excuse me on this. You know, I've just remembered that at some point, the national government send salaries for staff under the National Library Services to counties. Yes, which is devolved. But they said, okay, it's our responsibility to pay the National Library Service staff, but we will give that the money for the salaries of the National Library Service staff in counties is sent to the counties to pay. So why can't we do additional allocation for CHPs?
Correct.
And their money is sent straight to the county governments.
Then they do the
payment.
I believe leader of majority will be going to.
Just for the benefit of
House Business
insight,
Committee.
I sit as the chair of education in COG, and I want to thank the president. When libraries were devolved, we had a conversation on the same that let's collapse this money and come to the counties. And today, the library staff in the counties are earning salary just like any other employees of the county. So this matter where national government will keep 2,500 today, maybe county X for one reason or the other one, for another 2-3 months. At the end of the day, does it really help this person in terms of morale, in terms of motivation to work? For me, I believe that much as we have proposed the wage bill going forward, we just need to take the bull by its own, accept that these CHPs are contributing a lot in the primary healthcare, and that they are doing very well. Today we are seeing an increase in terms of revenue, in terms of reaching out to people in the villages, and just onboard them on space and treat them just like workers of the county, get them the IPD numbers, and they will be able also to assess a decent life that the rest of the staff are getting.
I think we all know what we must do. We proceed. Officer, please, can you make our life easy? Yes. Senator Cherargei had just asked a specific question. Just show us a SPA in the note, so that specific account.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Under note number 21 on detailed analysis of the cash and cash equivalents, the last account there listed as Kericho County CHP stipend account. We disclose it as a zero balance since this is a conveyor account where money comes in and moves out immediately.
Okay, so it is the last row.
Chair,
the last row.
Yes.
But
Okay.
it is zero, but he has insisted there is CMT. I'm looking for the CMT one. And then in this type, when he's saying it's zero. So where do you stand? You must have a stand.
Is it because it's credited and debited
Yes.
fully?
No.
So I think let's
CMT,
I want us to Auditor General, maybe just advise us on that, on the basis of that response.
Okay, thank you, Chair. From the explanation from the CEO Health, he confirmed that money is transferred to Kericho Health Management Team account for onward payment to CHP. So, and from our records, 54 million was paid or transferred to this account, and then 33 million paid, which means we should have a balance of about 20 million in that bank account. So this could not be the account we are looking for.
So what should we be asking them to do? A reconciliation or certificates for that account?
It's a disclosure of this bank account. This bank account is not disclosed in the financial statement.
So we should, I want us to be very detailed on what exactly we want them to do in the next 30 days. What information should they provide us with in the next 30 days? Yep.
Because they have not disclosed, so it is negative, it's zero. So where did they put this 20 billion?
So we are not going to go with that oral. By our minds about the SPA, that it is being used for the right purpose, and that these negative balances here are not meant to hide something. So we might not frame it now, but when we are doing our report back, we will be very, very clear on what you must respond back to in 30 days, because this is an implementation engagement.
Support, Chair.
Okay, so we can move a bit faster, honorable members. There was an inaccuracy of transfers to Bomet Water and Sanitation Company Limited. Fairly simple, Governor. that on one side, records indicate that you made 2 payments totaling 15 million. On the other side, records indicate that you transferred 18.4 million. So there's 3.4 million that gets lost. In whose pockets is the 3.4 million?
In the pockets of Bomet.
So, Bomet.
These are a shared water utility.
Okay.
And basically we pay, and over time they are bending accrued bills on the same that we pay in the next financial year. So basically, Chairman, management notes the author's observation. The reported amount of Kenya shillings 18,043,620 in the statement of financial performance relates to expenditure incurred during the year in relation to Bomet water. Out of this amount, Kenya shillings 18,483,620 payments, totaling Kenya shillings 15 million, were made on 21st August 2024 and 21st January 2025. The balance of Kenya shillings 3,483,620 represents payables outstanding at the end of the year under review, as per the attached list of payments in Annex 4.
Auditor General, does Annex 4 respond to the matter?
Thank you, Chair. The Annex Chair does not address the issue because it's dependent on the records of the company and not the county's records.
So when Governor, when you said that the 3.4 million represents payables outstanding at the end of the year under review, what does it mean? Maybe you can explain it from in a more layman language.
Ask the Director of Finance to respond to that.
Yeah, please, and make it a very brief explanation in English.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The amount which was billed for water consumption, that's from Bomet, was 18 million. That's for the financial year. The department had a budgetary allocation of 15 million, which we paid. And if you look at, we've attached a reconciliation there, Annex number 4. There was an outstanding liability of 13 million. We were billed 18 million and we paid 15. Out of that, the outstanding liability for the financial year was 3.4, and totaling 16.5 is an outstanding liability due to Bomet Water. We have the statement of account from Bomet Water, which it confirms the existence of that liability of 16.5 million.
Auditor General, again, you did the audit. We are now on implementation. Are they answering the question or they are doing their own things?
Thank you, Chair. From the explanation, we are missing that bit of the bills to support the explanation is giving.
Okay, so the justification for the 3.4, which they claim to be, what they call it, payables outstanding.
Payables outstanding.
Yeah, so officer, maybe the justification of the 3.4?
It's in the statement. It's the statement which you've attached as supporting Annex 4. There is the statement of account from Bomet Water.
Auditor, have you looked at it, or we give you some time?
Invoice.
We have not seen the figure. Maybe you can specifically point it out.
Officer?
Chair, and also the invoicing of this amount of 18.4 million.
Yeah.
Maybe you can point out, because the one we see in reconciliation is 16.5. And there was actual transfer of 15 million.
You know what the auditor is asking is, it makes sense. So you're saying there was the 3.4 outstanding payables. It's not just a matter of writing it that this was outstanding. I mean, there's a way in which you justify.
So where is the invoice?
Is that statement here?
Yes, we've attached the statement.
Where is it?
Yes.
How does it look like? Because we also have the files. You said Annex 4.
This one on Kericho Water and Sanitation Company, you buy bulk water from Bomet.
Yeah, just show us that one that justifies the 3.4 so that we move to bigger things. We have huge pending bills of 1 billion that we need to deal with.
Chair, I think there is an account attached in Annex 4 from Bomet Water and Sanitation Company, which is showing a balance. We still owe them 16,575,925.
Waziri, deal with the 3.4. Deal with the 3.4. Just show us in that statement where that 3.4 is.
Chair, as he has indicated, looking at the Annexure 4, the opening balance, what we owed Bomet was 13 million during the year when we began the year was 13,142,305. Then the expenditure for the year was 18,433,620. But we were able to pay, we only transferred 15 million. So we have a balance of 3,433,620.
Waziri, you have repeated what has already been said.
Yes.
You have not dealt with that balance, the justification of that balance, and the evidence here. What you have said is what the auditor said.
Your water is here. You can explain further. Yeah, Mutai, Engineer Mutai. Yeah.
Oh, but you guys took us to a statement. The officer said there's a statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there is a statement which was rehearsed here, which is amounting to 18.4 million.
Where is it?
Annex what was it? Annex 4.
Annex 4 has almost 20 pages.
No, it's this one they are talking about.
The table.
The table.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one you could have prepared on Excel on your computer. What the auditor is saying, that 3.4 there at the bottom, they have not seen justification or anything to support it, to authenticate it.
Honorable Chair, in that statement, line item number 44, which shows, this is a statement which runs from July 2021 all the way up to May 2025. But the year under review was financial year 2024-2025. If you look at line number 44, May 2024, that is the cutoff of the previous financial year. And that is why we are saying there was an opening balance of 13.1 million. In that financial year, we were billed 18 million, and it can show 177,114, 11, and 6.9, totaling to 18 million. That is the bill for the year. So the 3.4 is the movement that you have the opening balance and you have what you have billed and what you've paid, the 15 million which you paid. That movement of 3.4.
I don't think we are communicating. And members, this is an implementation meeting. And I want to propose that we allow the Auditor General to examine this matter, look at the details that the officer is explaining, and we give them a date, implementation period of 14, 21, or 30 days. I think 30 days, because there are some things in this report where the governor will have to come back. So we give them a time to do the reconciliation and agree. If they do not agree, then we adopt the position of the Auditor General. Because we can't do that audit right now.
Chair, that's okay. But I'm just wondering why the officer has a problem communicating a very simple thing to me. Because you're trying to look for 3.433 million. You'll not find it anywhere. For me, this is a pending bill. It's money that has not been paid. That's what you're supposed to be paying. You have not paid that. It's a balance from 18 million after you paid 15 million. Why is that so difficult to explain? No, but we are saying other things. You are trying to look for it. Where are you looking for it from? And you can't find it in the documents.
And this
money you have not paid.
I think, members, looking at the time, let's allow the Auditor General to scrutinize this and satisfy his the question that he had asked, because I could hear the question he was asking, which is not being addressed, and
Chair,
we make it part of the 30 days.
Out of curiosity, you are giving them 14 days to do what? Do they know what they are supposed to go and do? I thought we should be clear to them. Because the OAG is asking, for example, 3.4, these bills or the pending, that amounts to this variance of 3.4. So do they know what they are going to do?
The OAG is asking for the 3.4. That gentleman is trying to explain that he can see it.
Where?
But the OAG is not seeing it. Now, we give them an opportunity to review this and advise us, because we cannot depart from the OAG's position.
Chair,
if the OAG is not seeing it, even us, we cannot see it.
Chair, we are not doing miracles here this much. You know, it's only Jesus Christ who did it 2,000 years ago. We must see this 3.4 where it is the variance.
We have not seen it. We have not seen it.
Is saying he is seeing it.
We have not seen it.
Maybe he has
and if he feels that it is justifiable, we will ask them to sit with the OAG. This is implementation in 30 days, or in whatever duration that you are coming before this committee. This matter must be put to rest. Now let's proceed. There was an issue on NAV CDP.
Number 5.
There was an issue on NAV CDP. Again, another conditional grant. Can we quickly look at this, Auditor General? It's still outstanding.
Thank you, Chair. And supported expenditure and the inaccurate transfer to National Agricultural Value Chain Development Project. The statement of financial performance reflects transfer to other government entities amounting to 502,651,539. The amount includes transfers to National Agricultural Value Chain Development Project amounting to 144,514,015 as disclosed in Note 11 to the financial statements. However, the amount differs with the IFMIS payment detailed amount of 89,383,098, resulting in an explaining variance of 55,130,917. Further, the project's opening bank account balance as at 1st July 2024 was 134,927,319, and that during the year the project received 144,514,015, and the closing balance was 413,304, which shows that the total expenditure for the project was 279,028,030. However, the respective expenditure returns together with the related and accountability supporting documents were not provided for audit review. Thank you, Chair.
Governor?
The Honorable Chair, the variance of Kenya shillings 55,130,17 is the difference between the expenditure for the year of Kenya shillings 144,514,015 recognized as transfers, and the amount received of Kenya shillings 89,383,098, comprised of Kenya shillings 10 million from the counterpart contribution and Kenya shillings 79,383,098 dispersed after the closure of the financial year and recognized as receivables as shown in the table below. This is details. Number one is a total expenditure during the year 144,514,015, and that is Annex 5A. Amount received during the year co-funding. This is our own county contribution of 10 million, which is also in Annex 5B. And then amount dispersed after the closure of financial year from the donor, that is after we closed the financial year, was 79,383,098, and it is Annex 5C. Reported variance 55,139,017. We further wish to clarify that the project expenditure of Kenya shillings 144,514,015 was concurrently audited under the State Department of Agriculture, where the project is domiciled, and a good sample of expenditure of returns for the expenditure of Kenya shillings 144,514,015 has been availed for verification.
Auditor General, starting with the numbers.
Thank you, Chair. It has been explained that the amount include an expenditure of 144,514, and it also includes 10 million transferred from the account letter. So this implies that the figure was determined from the expenditure instead of the actual transfer. So the records could not be clear. And again, on the 79 million, we have done a reconciliation of the amount of money received by the project, that is opening balance 134 plus amount received, then minus the closing balance, so that we get the actual expenditure, which is 279. So these figures have not been reconciled. Thank you.
Now, surely, Governor, numbers must add up. The Auditor General is saying they're not adding up. I thought the problem here was the policy part, where the oversight is being done under State Department of Agriculture, and we'll come to that. But the numbers here must add up, because we are hearing bad things in counties about utilization of conditional grants. NAV CDP, before NAV CDP we had NARIP. NARIP was poorly implemented. Then we have FLOCA and several other grants. So when the auditor is raising questions on NAV CDP, it's not something that we can excuse as an accounting mistake. So he says the numbers don't add up.
Chair, thank you so much. I was in Senate last week before the committee of authority, and I'm very happy that the report on FLOCA was unmodified, which was one of the few counties on earth which excelled on it, and thank you for that. Let me ask the accountant then to respond.
Okay. Now we are on NAV CDP. There are audit queries on the numbers.
Okay, Honorable Chair. The variance reported, that is the variance of 55,130,917, is actually the difference between the expenditure for the year of cash shillings 144 million, recognized as transfers, and the amount received of cash shillings 89,383,098, comprising of 10 million counterpart and 79 disbursed.
Isn't that what the governor has just read?
Yes.
Which the auditor is saying is not adding up.
But that's where the 55 million is coming from.
Did you listen to the Auditor General when we asked him about the numbers? He has said it is not adding up. That's what you need to address, because you are rereading what has already been read.
I'm explaining the variance.
No, you are reading. I can see what you are reading. It's here.
Yeah.
Auditor General, can you help that gentleman so that he can respond to the right thing?
Okay, thank you, Chair. We are saying in the financial statements, an expenditure of 144,514,015 is disclosed against IFMIS records indicating 89,383,098, resulting in an explained variance of 55,130,917. Then the next query is the project opening. We are doing a reconciliation of the bank account for this project, where it had an opening balance of 134 million, and during the year it received 144 million, and the closing balance in that bank account is 413, which implies a total payment of 279 million has been made. So we want an explanation for these variances.
Okay, now maybe you should address it directly before he goes back to read the governor's statement. Officer?
And also to answer, so that he can answer both.
Yes, Senator.
Why was some amount spent in IFMIS and 89 million paid outside IFMIS?
89 million is made up of 79 million that was received after the end of the financial year, and the 10 million, that's the county contribution.
All the money is put in one account.
Yes.
Why is some money spent using IFMIS and some amount spent outside IFMIS?
Chair, I think
Senator Cherargei, you can
the
also...
issue is variance of this 55,130,917. Because if you cannot explain this variance, then it was not spent as per the condition. So, Bwana CEO, or was it director? Was it CEO or director? Director accountant. the accountant. So where is this variance? Anangamwa got it. Is there a possibility?
Can we
No,
use,
Chair, sometimes, you know, you speak to a man to the language they understand, it goes to the heart. So maybe that would allow assist him, Chair. But my only concern is,
whatever you say will be expunged from the record.
Can you explain? That is what I was just emphasizing.
Okay, that's
yeah.
good. Please explain the variance.
Yes.
You have reproduced the variance. You have it there in your analysis. You have said variance. That's what we are asking you to explain, and that's what the Auditor General had asked.
No, Chair, Governor Kericho.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Why are your officers not saying, they say things in passing? If they just explain, we would not actually even be seated here. I'm hearing that man saying that he's mentioning 79 million that was received after the closure of the financial year. And another 10 million also received after. Is he saying that that 89 million Kenya shillings was received in your accounts outside of the audit cycle? So that by the time that the auditors came to you, that money had not been received in your account. Is that what you're saying?
Honorable, through the chair, thank you, Senator Wambua, for that observation. Maybe Director of Finance can help us or can help the accountant to explain.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, the 79 million was received after the close of the financial year. But since we are on accrual basis, we are required to disclose it as a receivable. And it forms part of the movement in that account. And we disclose and report in the 2024-2025 financial year.
Is that difficult to explain? You know, you keep on.
Also to note that for the committee to note, the NAFCDP project, it's not a self-reporting entity like the other ones. So for us to disclose the cash and cash equivalent, that is balances in those accounts, we have to bring in the expenditure bit. And the accountant in charge of that project shares with us the expenditure during that financial period so that we disclose together with the books of the county executive. And in the notes to the financial statements, we've disclosed the balances in those two accounts.
So one, there's a spar for
the balance in the CBK SP account, and also the balance which is in the commercial bank account. And it forms part, since we're required to report on these balances, it means then we're required to report on its expenditure as well.
But there's a special purpose account for NAFCDP.
Two, actually. There is one at CBK and another one at a commercial bank.
Okay, Senator Gata.
Chair, quickly, you know, so just before majority talks, Chair, you know, we are not doing audit here, you know. We are entirely relying on the report of the OAG. So somebody would be interested to know whether the entity got time to explain what they are telling us now. Because, I mean, did you, at any given time, engage the auditor to give those explanations? Because this matter shouldn't be before us by now, if they were satisfied. You know, we are not auditing. We are trying to go by what the auditor has presented before the committee. Auditor in this process is a prosecutor.
I share your frustration, Senator Gatai.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have to respond to that at some point, but let's hear from Majority Leader.
Chair, what is concerning me is a repeated theme in all the items that we've gone through, and even this particular item that you're discussing. While you people are discussing figures, if you read what the auditor is asking, he's not asking about figures. It's a simple thing called a document. And that is what is at the heart of all this problem. The fact that we have expenditure that cannot be supported by any document. It's not about explanation. And that's, Chair, what I struggle with following the conversation today. And it's something that really bothers me. The fact that in all items that we have gone through, this is the fifth one, is all about unsupported
documentation. So perhaps the question we need to ask ourselves is, where are these documents? Because if you read this auditor's report, he's saying, however, the amounts differs with the IFMIS payment details. IFMIS is the mother source of all these documentations, with the IFMIS payment details of 89,383, resulting in an unexplained variance of 55. What is the conclusion from the auditor? In the circumstance, the accuracy and the completeness of 144,514,015 included under the transfers to other government entities could not be determined. So the auditor is not struggling with the explanation that is being given about this money came in at this time or the other. Is the fact that, as per the documents provided during the time of the audit, they cannot support the expenditure. And what I struggle with, Chair, is where do these documents go? Perhaps that is the basis of the biggest thing we need to unravel in our conversation today with the county government of Kericho is, where do your documents go? That is the biggest problem.
Majority Leader, I also share your frustration because the Auditor General has said, in addition to what you have said, the respective expenditure returns together with related accountability supporting documents were not provided for audit review.
Yes.
And then the governor responds and says that it was audited under State Department of Agriculture. And a sample of expenditure returns has been availed for verification. We expected you to avail it to the Senate because this is a report that is before the Senate. We cannot say that it has been availed to the State Department of Agriculture and that's it. And members, that's a problem with the these conditional grants that we are passing. NABCDP is processed through the Senate. I think it's an instrument that originates from the Senate. Yeah? It does not even originate from the National Assembly. It originates from the Senate. And then when it comes to expenditure of that money, Governor, you're telling us, no, that one was audited under State Department. It can't be that way. Because that money has come to you. You have applied it on your budget. It's your officers you have spent on it. It cannot be that when you now ask the question, you tell us it's at the State Department of Agriculture. I think that's what we must also deal with beyond the numbers. Because for this amount of 144, the Senate has absolutely no visibility on how it was used.
Thank you. I share in the sentiments of the senators. One is that what comes out in NABCDP is that this is a program that is audited and is basically domiciled within the State Department of Agriculture. Sometimes, many of the programs, even done, are actually procured through the State Department of Agriculture. I'll give you, for example, the e-fascination program. The county has nothing in the procurement process or even the expenditure of that money because it is done by the national government and all we do is just to execute what has been done. And most of the time, I think this is one of the first times that this program is becoming a self-reporting entity. But not to belittle that, I think Senator Aaron Cheruiyot had mentioned something on documentations, which I share in that concern too, and I would wish them to ask the Director of Finance to specifically respond to the matter of documentations.
Maybe while on it, that is why I asked during audit process to the county participate, because that is when governor and CCM, you have opportunity to know documents. Even I think the audit process is the most fair because even they give you a management letter and point out areas that you need to follow it up. So I think, and CCM Finance has been serving for some time. So this is lack of leadership. Maybe there is a problem that he is experiencing, then he can share with the committee. Because you are aware, Chair, under Public Audit Act, non-provision of documentation is an offense that has serious consequences.
Now, Governor, maybe just to pick something that you said, that in NABCDP, the State Department sometimes does procurement.
Sometimes. In fact, I'll just cite the e-fascination. The entire procurement is guided by the State Department. They do the procurement themselves. The county has no role over it.
Let's look at the structure of other conditional grants.
Yeah.
FLOCA.
FLOCA is entirely at the county government.
There's KUSP.
Yes,
Kenya Urban Support.
the funded by the World Bank. It's done by the county government.
Decisions are made by
the county, of course, guided by the manual of World Bank.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which other significant conditional grant do you have?
KDSP.
KDSP.
Yeah.
The decisions are made at the county.
At the county, but guided also by the manual of the World Bank.
But NAFCDP, you are saying
NAFCDP is guided by the State Department of Agriculture.
Guided means that even procurement decisions are made.
Yes, some of the procurements are done by the State Department.
I think that's a significant flaw that must be addressed.
Yeah.
Chair, and Governor, you tell this to your colleagues. We cannot allow the national government to claw back on devolution at that rate. They cannot come and make decisions on matters agriculture in the counties. If they want to support agricultural functions and programs in counties, they know what to do. Agriculture is a devolved function. Let funds follow functions. Push monies to the counties make decisions. Because if you say some decisions are made by procurement, decisions are made by the State Department of Agriculture, and other decisions are made by yourselves. When it comes to audit, now who gets audited for what? It creates unnecessary confusion.
Let me just, for the sake of this, just to inform the committee, because I think this is a Senator of the Republic of Kenya. You will be surprised that even appointing a director for NAFCDB is not solely by the county. It has to be approved by the State Department. So I think basically this audit query should be going to the State Department, because we're just conveyor belts and we are attracting here to come and answer questions that sometimes we have no absolute control over the same
Governor, we were around when NARIP was running and it had similar problems, and we were told NAFCDP was a better design. But it appears that it still has the same problems. But the one thing that you cannot run away from is that you must provide accountability. You must provide expenditure returns together with related accountability supporting documents. Even if you give them to the State Department, you must give them to the Auditor General and to the Senate. Because as things stand, we cannot say that this 144 million was spent properly. We have no visibility unless you provide that documentation.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with you in totality, because this is accountability, and we are, by law, we are supposed to account for the same, and that's why we are here, Honorable Chair. So let me ask the Director of Finance to further provide directions.
Members, because of time.
Chair, can I say something on what the Governor is raising before the Vice Chair comes on?
Let's be conscious of time.
I agree, but Governor, if you give an inch, they take a kilometer. Because I remember on Friday, you were smiling happily and signing National Equipment Service Program to support after the expiry of Management Equipment Services MES. So if the Council of Governors cannot take a position and tell the national government, we can procure these medical equipments, for example. If also through conditional funds, you are being guided. Also CHBs, you are being guided. So the question is, it is you governors who are allowing clawback of the functions of default, because looking at the fourth schedule, your default function is crystal clear. No one has even challenged in any discourse of court. So even if there is article, or is it 189 on the engagement between the national government, it should be there. So the question is, as Council of Governors, you have failed because you have not protected your territory. You are allowing, you are ceding 1 inch. They will, now, if we are careful, and Senator Wambua, as you should be careful. By the time you become a governor, you look like Mutai, because all functions would have been taken. So you need to be careful. And as the current governors, you have obligation to protect for posterity.
Senator Cheriot.
On a point of order, Chair, allow me to protest on behalf of Kericho people. This is a session to listen to our books and speak to their matters. You guys have spent far much time speaking on policy issues. Important as they are, we missed the point on the substantive issues that brought us here. And I'm looking at the time, it's barely 20 minutes before the rise of the House. If we continue on the policy conversations here, when will we delve into very substantive issues that are in this report? Therefore, I want to plead with you that you guide us back to what brought us here. not the policy conversations.
Chair, that will happen. Chair, that will happen.
I agree with Majority Leader.
Chair.
Because of time, generally Majority Leader, we usually deal with the numbers plus the policy as well, so that we can make relevant recommendations. But on this, Governor, for 144 million spent in Kericho on NAV CDP, you must provide the supporting documents to the Auditor General, irrespective of how flawed the policy is. We will fix the policy when we are passing the additional allocations bill.
Chair, just sorry, so that I don't lose. There's something the governor said, which I wanted to hear the response to, in response to my question. I think he had asked the Director for Finance to say something about the specific question about documentation. Why we having this problem? I'd be interested to hear the response.
Fine.
To that.
Perhaps you take 1 or 2 minutes. Where's the Director? Who has been given this stage? Introduce yourself for answered purposes.
No, he's been speaking.
Oh, it's the same gentleman.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Senator Kericho. On the issue of documentation, what we have identified as some of the gaps which exist, and we've tried to address that issue. We've come up with an archiving center at the county headquarters where we keep all the documents. And what's happening, what used to happen before we consolidated the storage of these documents is that the documents were spread across all these departments. But right now we do have an archiving center where we keep all the documents, and at an instance we are able to access the documentation. So going forward, Honorable Senator, this is an issue which we've addressed, and we will not have this issue recurring in the subsequent audit cycle. Thank you.
Now, Auditor General, we are directing that you must get the evidence of expenditure of 144 million on NAV CDP, because the governor has passed it on to the State Department, but the function, the money was sent to him, is the one to account for it. And then we'll fix the policy issues as the legislators. Let's, honourable members...
Chair, please make haste in fixing that policy issue. It will be important to do that. And you know, I want to make a comment, Chair. You know, when we say these things, they just don't relate to the Kericho county government. They relate to a lot of other counties, a lot of other functions. And I'm happy that the leader of the government business in the Senate is seated next to you. So that overreach, that clawback, it's a conversation that we must really have.
Correct. Honourable members, let's talk about pending bills in Kericho County. 1.8 billion. Inaccuracy of trade and other payables. Number 8 in the certificate.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Inaccuracy of trade and other payables. The statement of financial position and as disclosed in Note 32 to the financial statements reflects trade and other payables totaling 1,804,953,574. However, the amount does not include 21 court awards made against the county executive over the years totaling to 69,083,118, which had not been paid, and there was no evidence of appeal by management. Further, the amount does not include payables to KEMSA. However, corroborative evidence from KEMSA revealed that county executive owed Kenya shillings 1,140 for medical supplies, which was not disclosed in the financial statements of the county executive. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
Honorable Chair, management concurs with the auditor's observation regarding the omission of 21 court awards amounting to Kenya shillings 69,318 and the payable to Kenya Medical Supplies Agency KEMSA amounting to Kenya shillings 61,140 from the trade and other payables balance. The omission arose due to an oversight during the compilation of the financial statements. Management acknowledges that these amounts should have been disclosed as part of trade and other payables in the statement of financial position and accompanying notes. Management undertakes to update the register of pending court awards, and ensure all confirmed liabilities are captured in the financial records. Reconcile supplier statements, including those from KEMSA, on a timely basis to ensure completeness and accuracy of payables, and include the omitted amounts of subsequent financial statements, and strengthen internal review controls to prevent recurrence.
Honorable members, if you have the detailed financial statements, as you usually do, we go to note 32 on trade and other payables, which ages the debt, breaks it down to its components, and also demonstrates how it's been moving. So, Governor, in 1 year, your pending bills grew by 700 million. Is that 700 million? From 1.1 billion at the close of the year to 1.8 billion. Is that correct? Note 32. Note 32 to the financial statements.
It moved to.
It's the notes supporting the financial statements, where you have the aging analysis and the movement of pending bills.
This one is saying that this one.
We can just have a conversation. Maybe just explain to us why it's increasing. Secondly, payables to employees moved from 0 to 292 million in 1 year. Maybe you could explain why that happened. And debt over 1 year grew by 28%. From 0 to 533 million. You could help us understand that, contextualize this table.
So first, maybe I'll just begin first with the audit query number 8. One is that we have had running cases over the years in the county government of Kericho. And what I did when I took over, I considered a team to look into all those cases and tabulate so that we can include in the budget of this financial year and be able to pay those pending bills of advocates that were engaged previously by the county government to execute matters of the county government, including, in fact, Chair, some of these pending bills included some cases which was called the debate case. Chair, it was a landmark case between the county government of Kericho and the British government, which was done around 2013 or 2014 thereafter. Over time, we have had also cases in roads and other departments of suppliers that goes to court as up to 2016 that have not been paid, and probably because of the question and that. So in a nutshell, what we have done as a county is to audit all these applications that we do as a county so that we face it out, because it's not possible to pay all of them at once without collapsing the entire development budget. And that's what we are doing. As to the pending bills that have accrued over time, is that at the close of a financial year, we cross over with the shareable revenue. Sometimes we are closing over a financial year and the shareable revenue have not been dispatched to the county, and we close over the year with that pending bill. Also, on on-source revenue, we set the bar high for our on-source revenue. We had a set target of 1.2 billion, which we didn't meet. We collected around how much? 854 million, and already we had sourced, or rather we had procured to that tune of 1.2. So the shortfall of around 400 million then occasion as a result of not meeting our on-source revenue. But what we have done going forward is that we have rationalized our budget expectations, revise the on-source revenue to meet what we can achieve, so that we avoid accrual of pending bills.
Why don't we be more specific? Because there are two things in the audit. There's a KEMSA pending bill. It's not very material. So maybe that's something that can be fixed. Then
Pay that one as we speak today.
There's the legal fees, the awards.
Yeah.
Now, these awards, there's no appeal.
Yes.
And you know that interest also continues to grow, to accrue. You have no luxury of excluding them from your liabilities. Even if you are not, even if you are planning a payment plan for the future, but it must be disclosed. It must be disclosed as a liability. I don't know where you got the advice to exclude them, even if you thought that you couldn't pay, because if you haven't appealed, then you agree with the decision of the court.
Chairman, I'm happy some senators are contesting for governors, and I wish them very well. In fact, we have been in terrible situations. My CCs has been hiding in their houses and the county secretary because of consistent warrants of arrest of low fees that dates back to 2013 when devolution was formed. So I agree with you, Chair, that we did a mistake by not disclosing, and we are working in this financial year to disclose all of them, and I'm working with the county assembly to budget so that we're able to meet our applications.
Senator
Again, yeah, more specifically, we have 21 court awards, and there is no evidence, they've not been paid, and there's no evidence of appeal. But that response, Governor, the omission arose due to an oversight during compilation of financial statements does not really wash. So we want to know if up to now you have appealed. To how many cases? Okay.
Chair.
How many have you paid up to now? These are the type of responses that we require.
Chair, just to say, some of the cases cannot be appealed because a decision was made like 6-7 years ago and it was never appealed. I'll cite for you a case like Kokuta land that Kisumu County successfully is trying to annex away from Kericho County. And the case was never appealed in 2018, and we have to pay the lawyers. So what we are doing is just taking accepting our situation. We have established a robust county attorney office and equipped them. We have recruited equally a county solicitor general and a team of lawyers so that they are able to look into these matters. And in future, we avoid going for external lawyers to handle matters of the county.
Is the county attorney in the delegation?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Where's the county attorney?
And for good order, Chair, the beautiful thing is that the county attorney has been in office longer than the period the governor has been, including that 2018 case he's talking about. So it's better placed.
County attorney, maybe we could benefit by, where's the county attorney? Is he? Please give him a mic and maybe come to a position where the members can see you.
Chair, in addition, why oversight? And we want to know who is responsible for that. Because you cannot say you owe somebody 61 million and you didn't actually capture in your books. That is being irresponsible. Yes.
Yeah, so there are two distinct things that we expect the county attorney to advise the county government on. One, where the courts have made decisions, these ones, the 21. Yes. And two, on contingent liabilities, where matters are still before the court. Yeah. I do not seem to have seen a schedule of contingent liabilities in this financial statement. Did you prepare that and forward to the finance people?
Yes, we did. We usually ensure that we update it and we forward to the auditors and the finance department.
Do we have a schedule of contingent liabilities in the financial statements, Auditor General?
No, Chair, we don't have it.
So did you render that advice, or you failed to provide that advice to the county?
I did. I believe, Chair, where the problem was that there has not been any budget for the office of the county attorney. But in the next financial year, it has been provided for.
Why?
But if
Chair,
let me ask you, county attorney.
How long has the county attorney been in office?
How much of this amount is interest? How much of this amount, or this is just principal? The amount cited here.
No, the amount cited there is for various cases, court cases. It's not one case, court case.
Yes, there are various cases.
Various cases.
Have you quantified the principal award, or you have quantified also the interest?
This includes the interest. And whenever there is a delay, we also include the interest.
So where is that schedule that shows that? Because you didn't include it in your pending bills. It looks like you're the only one who knows it. And members, what happens is that when there's a transition, there's usually this committee called Committee on Assumption of Office.
Assumption of Office, yes.
that is when the county attorney comes up with a list of bills. And I don't know whether you experienced that, but a lot of bad things happen at that point in time. A county attorney comes with a piece of paper saying that we owe people 100 million, which
Chair.
was nowhere on the records.
Chair.
And this is what we must guard against. Everything must be disclosed. They cannot be in people's pockets and in people's phones.
Chair.
Senator.
Chair, I just wanted to ask the county attorney to give us an evidence of his submission on the pending bills to the OAG and also to the finance department. Do you have a copy? Number two, I don't know what he has been doing in the office when his department doesn't have a penny to resolve the issues that concerns his department. So we need a proof to show that you have not been getting also budget as far as that matter is concerned.
Chair, I want to ride on that last question by Senator Dulo. Where I come from, words have meaning. So when the governor says he has established a robust county attorney office, then the county attorney wakes up and says, we don't have a budget. Now, whose word do we go with? Are you robust or you don't have a budget? Now can you be robust if you don't have a budget?
No, it looks robust. I think if you go by looks.
Chair.
Maybe you can, yeah.
Chair, so that Governor, you answer all of it and through your county attorney. Chair, I have heard from your senator that you have been in office since 2013. Number one, in the words of Governor, and I want to advise Wambua said, since the Governor took an oath, he is the one who should be accountable. So my only issue is you have been in office from 2013, longer than most of these ladies and gentlemen, including the Governor. The Governor has gone on record in some of the cases that were ruled against the county government of Kericho. There was no appeal. So what are you doing in office? Don't you think you have failed the people of Kericho? Because unless you will provide us with the schedule where you have appealed against being ruled against Kericho County, which now they are paying legal fees instead of buying drugs in Ainamo dispensary or somewhere in Kapchebet where the majority leader comes from.
Just maybe to ride on the same chair, if you have an award, a court award, you either pay or you appeal. So what are the plans? Because if the award was in 2018 and up to now you have not paid, what are your plans? Because you would have interest charged on the awards.
Okay. County attorney. I don't feel intimidated, but just deal with the substantive issues that it's not personal. We just want to get an answer for the people of Kericho.
Okay. I believe what I can clarify on the budget is that the budget was not domiciled in the office of the county attorney, but now the governor has insisted that it should be domiciled, and it has been captured in the incoming budget of 2026-27.
Proceed.
Okay.
Brevity will help.
Okay, the other issue was on whether we appeal or not. Yeah, we've been appealing cases where we find that there is need to appeal, but some where we find that there is no, it will be expensive to appeal. It will, we do give advice on that for payment.
Do we?
Just quickly follow up, Wakili. So can you give, through the chair with the indulgence, can you give a schedule of the cases that has been under your watch, including what you have against appeal and you have appealed, so that we can see the value for money? Because you must also be held accountable. The fact that you are paid through Kericho taxpayers' money, you must be held accountable. And from 2013, so are you in a position to ensure that is brought? And finally, in the contingency liability and budget, you have said the governor said domiciled. Where? Is it your department at county attorney or domicile under finance department? What do you mean? Thank you, Chair. Yield back.
Yeah. Senator.
Just a quick one to the governor, because I'm really worried and concerned for time, is that what is his overall policy position on this pending bill item of 1.8? I know we've discussed about the cases, which is one of the items under, but there's a bigger policy direction which the governor has to give, Chair, on how he intends to tackle this issue of the growing pending bill, now standing at 1,884,953,574. What is the policy guidance and how does he intend to handle it?
Okay, maybe since that gentleman still has a mic, we'll get to the governor on that question. But you have noticed that there are three paragraphs in this report on legal fees. There is that one of 21 court awards of 69 million. There is another paragraph that talks about nugatory and avoidable expenditure on legal fees. And there's a third paragraph that talks about irregular payment of legal fees. One department should never generate 3 audit queries. So there's some tightening, some administrative action that must be taken. But due to pressures of time, Governor, what's your plan for the 1.8 billion to pay 1.8 billion? Because we have just dealt with law firms and claimants, but there are bigger problems with small suppliers who are owed 1.8 billion in Kericho.
Thank you, Chair.
Window of procedure. I know there were 51 unresolved issues. If it is not too troubled so much, if Majority Leader feel will not do justice, after we rise at 6:30, we can still come back. We have even processed impeachment past midnight. I don't know whether the governor will still be available beyond 6:30. We can still look at those issues if they or reschedule for another date.
I think let's take a view when it gets to a point where we must adjourn. We can give directions at that point. But the thing is, we must do substantive justice to this report. And honorable members, I'm happy that we have had a very mature and a very, very serious conversation today. You see, even in past events where we've had even impeachment proceedings, we have stopped at procedural matters. At least today, we are talking to the real issues facing the people of Kericho. If time becomes a problem, because we don't have the constraint of a constitutional deadline, we can still schedule another meeting for us to deal with the things that are remaining. Proceed, Governor.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Chair, I must also just through you that when I took over as the governor of Kericho, I inherited a pending bill of around 700 million. Over time, our own source revenue have never met these targets. Administratively, what I've done is through our internal audit committee, which at your advice, Chair, and I want to thank this committee again, because we must also say what is positive our committee has done. When we appeared before you in the last session, you observed and directed us to have an internal audit team, which we didn't have. Independent, which we did, we have implemented from your space, and it has made also our work easier, because what we have done now is to I've directed that internal audit team to verify the actual pending bills, which are supposed to be supported by documentations, so that as we move in this financial year, we will be doing etching. We pay those pending bills which have stayed for a very long time, while at the same time have a payment plan which will not also hamper the development projects of the county. As we all know, Honorable Chair, the rule from the controller of budget before she releases any funds is that pending bills is always the first charge. And so I want to assure the Senate, my senator, that we have a plan which we are paying. And as it is today, as of now, we are paid 708 million as today as we are standing here. And we still have 2 more requisitions to go.
Basi Mheshimiwa Rais sasa atapata maelezo kidogo.